The CEO walked into his diner, expecting a quiet meal. But just as he lifted his fork, a faint sob echoed from the kitchen. A waitress, crying, her voice trembling with pain. He put his meal down, listening closer. Then he heard it, words that made his blood run cold. What was happening behind those kitchen doors? And why did it feel like something much bigger was at stake? Key watching, the smell of sizzling burgers and fresh coffee filled the air as James Carter, the undercover CEO, slid into a corner booth of his diner. He was just another customer to the staff, a simple button-down man blending into the lunchtime crowd. This was how he liked to run his business, seeing firsthand how employees were treated when no one knew he was in charge. Servers weaved through the tables, balancing plates and smiling through exhaustion. At the counter, the manager barked orders, his voice sharp. James sipped his coffee, watching and listening. Everything seemed normal until a muffled cry drifted from the kitchen. His grip tightened around the cup. Was someone hurt? Another sob, then hushed, frantic whispers. Something was wrong. He set his coffee down, his heart pounding. Whatever happened back there wasn't just a bad day. He was about to find out why. James rose from his seat, his instincts telling him something wasn't right. He made his way toward the kitchen, passing by a waitress who kept her head down, her eyes red and puffy. She flinched when the manager's voice rang out again. "You can cry all you want, but no one's gonna save you," the man sneered. James slipped through the swinging doors unnoticed. What he saw made his blood run cold. A young black waitress, no older than 20, stood trembling near the sink, tears rolling down her face. Her uniform was stained with coffee, the hot liquid still dripping onto the tile floor. The manager loomed over her, arms crossed, eyes filled with disdain. "You spilled coffee on a customer. That's it for you. You're done," he snapped. I, I said I was sorry," she stammered. "It was an accident. He bumped into me and—" "Doesn't matter," the manager interrupted. "You're always messing up. People like you shouldn't even be working here. You should be grateful we hired you at all." James clenched his fists. The venom in the man's voice wasn't just about a spilled drink. It was about something more profound, uglier. The girl shrank back, wiping her tears with trembling hands. "Please, I need this job," the manager scoffed. "Not my problem." James had heard enough. His heart pounded as he stepped forward. "Actually," he said, his voice cutting through the tension, "I think it is." The manager spun around, his smirk fading. "Who the hell are you?" James took a slow, deliberate step closer. "I own this place." The color drained from the manager's face. The room went silent. James stared him down, his voice firm. "Now tell me again, what were you saying to her?" Cliffhanger. The truth is about to come out, and the power dynamic has shifted. What happens next will decide the manager's fate. The manager's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. The young waitress stared at James, her tear-streaked face frozen in shock. Once filled with the clatter of dishes and the hum of conversation, the kitchen was now silent. James took a step forward, his voice steady. "I asked you a question. What were you saying to her?" The manager swallowed hard. I, uh, I was just handling an employee issue." "Handling it," James repeated, his voice dangerously calm. "By humiliating and threatening her?" The waitress shrank back, but James turned to her with a reassuring nod. "You don't have to be afraid anymore. Tell me the truth." Her lips trembled before she whispered, He said I should be grateful to have a job here, that people like me don't belong." James's jaw clenched. The words hung heavy in the air. He turned back to the manager, his expression unreadable. And by people like her, you mean what exactly? The manager's face turned red. I didn't mean... Say it. James's voice was sharp now, cutting through the air like a blade. The manager stammered, but the truth was already out. The few employees watching from the doorway shifted uncomfortably. They had heard things before, seen it happen, but now, for the first time, someone with power was listening. James let the silence stretch before finally speaking. You think you can get away with treating people like this? His voice was calm, but his fury was evident. Not anymore. The manager took a step back. Look, I was just... You're fired. The words hit like a gavel in a courtroom. The manager's face paled. Wait, what? You heard me. James crossed his arms. Effective immediately, and don't expect a recommendation. The waitress gasped. The employees at the doorway exchanged stunned glances. James turned to her. You still have a job here, if you want it. Tears welled up in her eyes again. But they weren't from fear this time. Yes, I do. The weight of injustice lifted, and for the first time, the kitchen felt lighter. But James wasn't finished yet. He turned back to the rest of the staff. This stops today. If anyone else has been treated this way, I want to hear about it. No one will ever be disrespected in my diner again. A new chapter had begun, but the real question was, how many other places still allowed this to happen? James walked out of the kitchen, his heart still pounding. The weight of what had happened lingered in the air, but something was different now. The young waitress stood taller, her hands no longer shaking. The other employees, once silent, began to murmur, whispers of courage, of change. The manager was gone, but the scars of his words remained. Later that night, as James sat in his office, he thought about what had happened. This wasn't just about one girl or one diner. This was about something much bigger. How many others had suffered in silence? How many had been told they didn't belong? He picked up his phone, his fingers hovering over the screen. Then he made a decision. The following day, a statement appeared on the diner's social media. Racism has no place here. It never did. And from now on, we're making sure it never will. The post went viral and thousands of comments followed. Some were praising, some challenging, and some exposing their own stories of discrimination in workplaces, restaurants, and schools. James read each one. This wasn't just a moment. This was a movement. As for the waitress, she stayed, and she wasn't afraid anymore, because this time someone had listened. But the real question remains, how many voices are still waiting to be heard? If you enjoyed this story and thought it was thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful narratives. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done in this situation? Your support helps bring more eye-opening stories to life. Where are you watching this video from? Let us know in the comments. Take care.